At the last Sony State of Play, they teased their Project Q remote play handheld, and now there's a little bit more information concerning it. Price, the actual name, it's called the PlayStation Portal, so the PSP for short. Okay, it's the PlayStation Portal remote player, and it's launching later this year at $199. I've gathered as much information as I could about this thing before talking about it, but I know, when it was first announced, people were scratching their head. And even now, with more information, not full information, people are still scratching their heads. Like, who is this for? I know we could argue that for days. I could see use cases. So I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, is not enticing to anybody. I think there will be a crowd of people who see a use for this and want to grab it. $199 for a remote play device. It's not anything crazy innovative, as you've been able to do this with Sony's remote play features in the past. You could, play PlayStation games through remote play on plenty of devices, right? But to have something dedicated, maybe that'll be interesting to people, but there's still some information that is missing here. So they talk about, the immersion that they've delivered with the haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and a DualSense controller, how they want to continue to innovate. And that's where they are at with this. So the PlayStation Portal remote player, and they also announced some earbuds and a headset, which we will briefly talk about because it actually goes along with this, and it kind of annoys me a little bit because if I was interested in this device, there's like one main feature that is missing that just seems like, hey, we're going to do this just so we could sell more products. It's nonsense, right? It's nonsense. But the specs for this thing, right? We have a 1080p 60 hertz, 8-inch screen. And from what I've seen and understand, the screen is touch capable, where this will simulate the touchpad that's on a DualSense controller by touch screen on the corners down here. Like a little box will pop up depending on how you want to, you want to go left or right type of thing. So you have that. And then all the features of a DualSense controller is built into this. The haptic feedback, the adaptive triggers. That's kind of neat. So it's like an all-in-one PlayStation device if you're somebody who's in the remote play and don't want to fiddle around with your cell phone, controller attachments, syncing a controller, that kind of thing, right? You just need to have a strong Wi-Fi, signal wherever you want to use this. If it's within your own home, if it's across the world, in a hotel, at the beach, Starbucks, I don't freaking know. You need to be connected to Wi-Fi. There's no like data built in. There's no, like, didn't they do that with the Vita? They had like a AT&T model where you could get a data plan. Like I never bothered with that, but yeah, you don't have none of that with this. It's just like Wi-Fi and you can remote play. So not crazy innovative other than, hey, it is a DualSense, controller built into it, fully featured. But as far as specs go with this thing, they haven't really talked about anything with battery life or like what's actually powering this thing. Like I play my PlayStation 5 all the time. I love my PlayStation 5. And the DualSense controller, I love it. Like, it's an amazing controller, but the battery life freaking sucks, man. So I'm hoping they have that figured out with this for people who are interested. Because, yeah, if you're only using this thing for an hour and it's dead, that'll suck. Because it's not just powering the controllers, it's powering, the Wi-Fi signal behind, the connection, the actual display, whatever's powered. Like, there's multiple components here that need to suck life from a battery that a normal DualSense controller wouldn't. So you have all that extra stuff in there. Hopefully they figured that out and there's a decent amount of battery life behind this thing. Because otherwise, yeah, if this thing's dying on you very quick, like that would suck. That would suck big time. But yeah, there's a lack of specs here. We don't know a lot of information yet. It's $200 launching later this year. The price point at $200, I could see that making sense for some people. Will it make sense for me? I don't know. Like, I don't travel much and, but I could see like for some people, it may be like, oh man, I got my PS5 in the living room. I'm going to bed or, I only have one TV. Other people want to watch something. I still want to play my PS5. This could be cool to have that, DualSense experience all in one type of thing. You don't have to set anything up. You just did your initial setup to have this connected to your PS5. As soon as you power this thing on, as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi with this device, it will power on your PS5. So I guess if you're like out of state or something, or you're traveling in somebody else's home, you got to make sure it's not like turning your TV on. You know, like for me, if I turn my PS5 on, I have my PS5 connected to some Sony Atmos speakers and whatnot, Dolby Atmos speakers, and that's all connected, you know, chained up to the TV. I turn on my PS5, it turns my TV on, turns the speakers on, all that kind of stuff. So you'd have to keep those things in mind if you're traveling with a device like this. But the biggest omission, which to me is one of the greatest things that I could criticize here, because like I said, you could argue, who is this really for? But I could see it being for some people. Maybe this isn't going to be a crazy popular device that Sony sells, but some people will be interested. But the biggest omission is there's no Bluetooth. Now you do have a 3.5 millimeter jack to, you know, wire up some headphones and play that way. But if you want to use like, you know, earbuds or headphones that you currently have that are Bluetooth, they cannot connect to this. That is nonsense, dude. That's nonsense. But why? Why'd they do that? They did that to sell more products. That's why. Because they've also announced with their Pulse Elite headset and their Pulse Explore wireless buds that they have this PlayStation Link going on, to where these are the first devices to have this link capability where it'll link to a PlayStation device, your PS5, your PlayStation, your PSP, your new PSP, your PlayStation Portal. It can link to that, and boom, there you go. But these are the only two, you know, headset solutions that have that currently. So that's an additional cost. And they're not cheap either. So if you want to have that experience where you're not bothering anybody, you want a headset and you don't want to be wired, you're looking at paying $200 for the Pulse Elite. And I think the buds were $150. Yeah, the Pulse Elite 150. Actually, I might have that backwards. The Pulse Explorer will be 199. Whoa. Okay, so I had that a little backwards. These guys are 200, the headset's 150. Crazy. So you're that's the biggest thing that I don't like, is that there's no Bluetooth. We also don't know the battery capacity. That hasn't been finalized yet. Latency, who the hell knows? Because when you're streaming, you know, doing remote play, there may be some latency. If you're sitting in the same room with your PS5 or in the same vicinity, you're on the same network, you have a really strong network, maybe you'll be fine. But across the world, or, you know, 50 miles away using some dodgy Wi-Fi, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure how this is going to work out for, you know, the total experience. Just, I wanted to talk about it, hear what you guys got to say about it. I think this is neat, but at the same time, like, it would be an instant buy for me, to be honest with you. And I know you could already do this in a way with this when it comes out, like link it up to your PS5, turn it on and use it as a controller. But I would think it would be awesome if they went further and developers started like allowing you, like, yeah, you don't have to use this as remote play if you don't want. Like, that's the main feature of it. But if you want to use it as a dedicated controller, there you go, which you can do just by connecting it, right? But if they would be able to use that screen for like additional gameplay information, use the, you know, that would be cool. Like, incorporate this screen into gameplay in some ways. Obviously, that wouldn't be something that right off the bat would be out there. Developers would have to choose to do that. But to be able to use this as a dedicated controller with additional features with that screen, having extra information on there, that would be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. But like I said, there's already certain things we don't know about it. There's been no mention of the stuff I just said. So who knows? But let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Bye.